could hear me. So I'm going to have to go through all of that again, aren't I? So, oh dear. Look, it's never a dull moment with me, is it? So let's go back to this. I've got to say, Alan Wooler died at the age of 68 as a defender for West Ham United, 3 years at the Bowling Ground. He was diagnosed with blood cancer myeloma. Spent 3 years at West Ham between 1973 and 1976. I hope you can hear me now. He only made 5 appearances for West Ham, most notably starting his first game in a 2-1 win in the First Division over Man United at the Bowling in 1974. He was the first West Ham player to wear the number 6 shirt after the late great Bobby Moore. Everyone at West Ham and all the fans expressed our sincere condolences. Right, what else did I say? Well, I said there's quite a lot to talk about this week. Of course, we beat the bogey team at the weekend, Everton. We got 3 points, a crucial 3 points there. We're getting ready for the Europa League first leg against Lyon on Thursday night, which will be exciting. And there's quite a lot of news, a lot of player news to update you on. And I'll be going through all of those. And then at the end, I'll be doing a Lyon special, talking about how Lyon are getting on. I did start against CC. I did, Pash. I'm sorry about that. Telling you all how Lyon are currently getting along, and updating you on their player news, and also the team that might be picked, the first 11 that might be picked against Lyon, given that we've got 1 or 2 injuries as well as suspensions to overcome as well. Yeah, I'm rewinding. My sincere apologies. I hope you can all hear me now. WHE are taking better. Mark, my sister's deaf. Can I sign language but not lip read? I'm really sorry. Right. Good evening, Chris. Thank you all for taking the piss. Well, I deserved it, to be quite honest with you. So fair play. So let's get cracking then with the first part of the show, and we'll go into the game. Oh no, actually, we're not going to go into the game. Yeah, some general news first, and it's all about changes to the Champions League. You know, when we qualify for it in 2024, we want to be ready for this, don't we? I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. UEFA have announced changes to the Champions League format for the 2024 season onwards, where they're going to increase the number of teams to 36. But what they're going to do is the teams that will probably get these additional places will be those that are coefficient, i.e. those who have been involved in the Champions League in the past. So, for example, let's say, for example, it was going to be introduced from next season. And one of the teams that could enter the Champions League could be a team that would win the FA Cup. Now, imagine if Crystal Palace won the FA Cup. They wouldn't necessarily be selected for Champions League place if they if they beat a team like Man City or whatever, because they've not been involved in the Champions League before. So clearly, what's happened with the Champions League format is that it's there to favour bigger teams. It's a bit out of order. It's to sort of protect the bigger team, the so-called bigger teams, and it's also a way of maybe introducing the European Super League through the back door. Now we know that UEFA were quite shaken by the fact that all these so-called big teams wanted to get together and create a Super League, a European Super League, and so they've changed the format in order to benefit these teams. Now, whether you think teams like Spurs are a bigger team is, a matter of opinion, shit opinion if you think they are. But because of that, a team like Spurs could win the FA Cup, not finish in the top 4 of the Premier League, and end up actually being in the Champions League in 2024. It's out of order. It's wrong. But then what happens thereafter? What else would happen? Do they start changing formats for how you qualify for things like the Euros? Do they change formats for how you qualify for things like the World Cup, etc.? The good thing about these competitions is that the minnows get an opportunity, get a chance to maybe do something, be part of that. The whole idea of these competitions is to be part of it. I remember years ago in the 70s when Zaire entered the World Cup, you knew they weren't necessarily going to win anything, but the fact that as a kid you're sitting there, you're watching these teams being in these competitions, and it's inspirational. David Moyes was asked about it at the weekend, and he said, the Champions League is meant to be for everyone. The whole idea of the Champions League is that is that these teams have an opportunity to qualify for these competitions. If you make it a closed door, and only have certain teams in it, how boring does that become? Look, the Champions League, it kind of stopped being the Champions League an awful long time ago, didn't it? Mainly when it stopped being the European Cup. It's no longer champions because you got second place, third place, fourth place teams being able to enter. And now, if you don't even manage to get in the top four of your league and you end up winning the FA Cup because you've been a coefficient, because you've actually been part of the Champions League in the past, you're able to qualify. It's wrong. And it's really, it's not an ideal way to run a competition, and it loses it loses that kind of credibility when you start allowing teams, just because they haven't finished in the top four, you allow teams like the likes of Man United or the likes of Tottenham, etc., to be able to qualify through the back door. Basically, it's wrong. It's out of order, and it's a shame that UEFA have gone down that path. But anyway, let's move on, because we know money talks, and clearly UEFA are as corrupt as FIFA with the way that they decide on who gets the World Cup, with the way that they decide who qualifies for these competitions, and it's wrong. Let's move on to match review, the one game that we played over the weekend. So at the weekend, we played Everton, like I said, our bogey team, and the team kind of picks itself at the moment, doesn't it? With injuries and with players who might be suspended, etc. This team almost picks itself. You look at the bench for a minute. The likes of Areola, clearly. We speculated at the beginning of the season who was going to be the Premier League goalkeeper, who was going to be the cup competitions goalkeeper. And many of us, including myself, kind of thought that it would be Areola in the Premier League and Fabianski for the cup. Clearly, Moyes thought otherwise, and he turned it around. One surprise, I guess, was the inclusion of Ryan Fredericks at right back. Coufal was on the bench, but perhaps he just wasn't quite match fit and ready for the game. And as we know, Ben Johnson, I'm going to talk about Johnson later on, was injured whilst on England under-21 duty. Dawson, Zuma, Creswell, the standard. You've still got Alese, who never get a kick in the Premier League at centre-back. But great that he's there for cover. The likes of Lasic, Yarmolenko, Kral, Noble, Masuaku, etc., Diop, they're never, as it stands at the moment, they're not first 11 choice players. So it kind of picks itself. Declan and Souček in the middle, Fornals, Benrahma and Bowen. I guess the only other player that might have been an option would be Lanzini, but I'm going to talk about him in a little while as well. And then, of course, Antonio up front. So I guess no big surprises, apart from maybe that Jarrod Bowen was back from injury. I speculated with the broken foot or a broken the hairline crack in his ankle, etc., might take a little bit longer to heal, but there he is. Moyes has played mind games with us again, and he was back, and it was great to see him back. He looked rusty, it wasn't at his best, but you know what, doesn't matter. When you're not at your best and you score the winning goal, I'll take that any day. The game itself, a little bit one of those games where every time we come back from international duty, we speculate what type of West Ham is going to turn up. We were lucky; most of the players that played on international duty came back fit, were available for selection. Um, but it was one of those games where it was a Sunday afternoon, and I don't know, the crowd didn't really feel up for it. I know it's going to be a very different atmosphere on Thursday, but maybe it's not so much to do with who we're playing. It's more about the time of day that the games are being played. Sunday afternoons at 2 o'clock. I don't know. The crowd were a little bit subdued. They tried their best, but it wasn't a full. It wasn't a full crowd. But made a bit of noise every now and again. But I'll be very honest with you, the Everton fans kind of outsung us for most of the game as well. Anyway, one of these teams that we could easily get beat by. We played against them. We I think we did well. Some of the key moments in the game were, of course, Ryan Fredericks, who started at right back. That great recovery by Ryan Fredericks when it looked like Everton were through on goal. All right, it was called for a free kick, but it was a very tenuous free kick as well. But it was great that Ryan Fredericks sort of saved that at that time. And then, of course, the stunning goal by Aaron Creswell. What a great free kick that was. Usually with Aaron Creswell, you see him when he takes a free kick, the first one usually goes over the bar or just to the side, etc., because he's trying to get a feel for for the angle and so on. But it was absolutely fantastic to see him score the first free kick of the game straight in the corner. I mean, I kind of called it half jokingly, but I actually thought Ryan Frederick. I thought that Creswell was going to go for the other corner, and the way he got it over the wall and into the. I mean, it was no chance for the keeper. Absolutely no chance, and it was a fantastic free kick. And I think it was kind of great that we went ahead. Other key moments in the game, well, of course, the first booking in the first half for Keane. It was most definitely a booking, and you would have thought after that he might have been a little bit more careful with his challenges. Clearly not. Second half, scrappy equaliser from Everton. It kind of looked like a bit of a pinball. It kind of hit. It looked like it hit more than one player, but it hit one of our players and went in. They got back into the game, and you started to think, here we go. It's going to be one of those games where you'll be happy for to walk away with a point. But then on the counter attack, we got a great goal. Look, if there's one thing that Antonio does, his touches when the ball got out to him were not fantastic. They're quite heavy touches, for heavy first touch, heavy second touch, but he still got a shot in. And but the ball came out sweetly to Jared Bowen, who was in the right place at the right time to put the ball away. Absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, Keane got his second booking. Rightly sent off. He went right through Antonio. Antonio, I've noticed this season. I've called him out a few times, but the one thing I've noticed is that he does get kicked around quite a lot. He really does by defenders. And then, of course, at the end of the game, you had Creswell, who sort of tried to kick the ball right through Richarlison's chest. Look, I don't know. Did he mean it? He certainly didn't put out Creswell. He gave it some welly, I must admit. But you know what? We won the game. It was we kind of needed to win that to stay within touching distance of the teams around us. We did the right thing. We won it. We got beat a bogey team. Other positives. Fredericks, I think he actually played pretty decently, to be quite honest with you, all things considered. Bowen, great for him to have returned. He got something like 70, 80 minutes, which will, sharpen his match fitness for Thursday. No injuries, which is also good for us as well. Sets us up nicely for the quarter-final game against Lyon on Thursday. Right, let's move on. And just one other thing, there's been yet another change in our fixtures on the same day, but at a later time. Our game against Man City on the 15th of May has been moved to 4:30 in the afternoon. More time even for me to get to the pub to have a few drinks before the game. I might just make it. But the only shitty thing, I guess, is it gives us slightly less hours to rest for the Europa League Cup final 3 days later. which we know we're all going to get there, don't we? Right, let's go into the chat and see what comments you've got. How far up should we go? There we go. Gaza, it's a bit ironic you channel called the voice and we can't hear you. Hey, I got through that, but thank you. I did get there in the end. Thank you very much. Who else have we got? Buffalo Snosy. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. It's your new name and I can't remember the old name. Peter, how are you? Thank you for joining. Good evening, Danya. How are you? Thank you for joining. Gaza, how are you? I hope you're well. Thanks for joining, mate. Who else have we got in the chat today? Peter, James, everyone saying hello to each other. Pete Gads. So the Champions League is becoming this. It's exactly that. The European Super League. It's exactly what they're doing. We know very well what they're doing, and they, well, yeah. Howard, good evening. Good evening to you. Eloquently on Sunday, Daniela. Oh yeah, I saw that you were on the show, Daniela. Well done to you. Black Country. Paul, scrolling through all the chats. Gaza, good to see Bowen back and get some minutes. Absolutely vital. It's a shame that Coufal didn't get on for a few minutes as well. And I just wonder just how fit he is. And because I would have maybe thought that he would have done the same with Coufal as Moyes would have done the same with Coufal as he did with Bowen, but that wasn't to be. WHU, let's give still channel a like. Yes, please. I keep forgetting. Please, like, I know I started off badly. My apologies, on mute, being late, etc., etc. But nonetheless, do like the channel if you like the content, and do subscribe. We'd like to get some subscribers in as well. Kimbo, how are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Good evening. Is Anderson? Game against Everton, worst atmosphere we've ever had there. Terrible. There's been worse, to be honest with you, mate. I won't lie. That it was quite flat. It was quite flat. But I just, like I said, I just wonder if it's because of the time of day. It's on a Sunday at 2:00. I wonder if it's because of that. What's a little bit upsetting, and I know not everybody can make every game. I know that. I'll get that in first. But I think what was a little bit upsetting was there wasn't a full house. Now, we've had an awful lot of complaints about fans not being able to get tickets for the Lyon game on Thursday. Everybody wants to go to the glory game, but when it comes to the games like Everton and the upcoming game against Burnley at home, that's when you need the fans there to really give the players that, a lot, make it a good atmosphere. And because that drives the players on, the players then drives the fans on, etc. And it's a shame. I find that a little bit of a shame that we can't get full crowds against teams like once upon a time, as I don't know if Pete's still in the chat. Once upon a time, as Pete said to me on Sunday, Everton was a big game, and now it no longer is, which is a real shame. Who else have we got in the chat? Let's scroll down. Steve WHU, Kimbo. I'm all good. Oh, they're all saying hello to each other. Oh, that's nice little community here. Good evening to you, Sharky. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Chris, I saw you earlier. Chris, thank you for joining as well. Hello to you. You're still banned under Father Snowman. What did you do? CC, last season we had 55 points after 31 games, but lost the next 2 games. If we win our next 2 this season, we'll have 57, 2 points more. So we're on a par with last season. And that is fantastic. It really is. I mean, we got over 50 points, people, and we've still got a load of games to go. Normally we'd be looking over our shoulders, fighting relegation. Jovi Hammer, good evening to you. Anyone have butterflies for? Not yet. But I get you, mate. I get you, absolutely. But those butterflies will kick in around Wednesday night, Thursday, without a shadow of a doubt. Gaza Rice on a yellow card. That's my only worry. And I'm going to talk about that later on, mate, which is why I titled the show about will Lyon target Declan. Good evening, Happy Hammerette. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Dabs. Where have I been? I saw you on Sunday. Where have I been? Dabs, good evening to you. Commentary has just scored for the MK Dons. Thank you for the update, because I'm going to talk a little bit about commentary as well later. Right, let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? And that is about the under-23s and the women's team. Right, so let's get on to the women's game. Now they played Man City at the weekend, losing 2-0. It was a resolute performance by the women's team, but Man City found the net in either half of the game, courtesy of Georgia Stanway and Khadija Shaw. The home team were a threat to City's backline, but were unable to make most of the chances that were created primarily by Adriana Lyon, Lucy Parker, Claudia Walker. We had quite a number of opportunities, but we just didn't finish the game off. After the game, women's coach Ollie Harder suggested that we need to be more clinical in front of goal, and that the goals that we gave away were actually quite sloppy. So we were in the game, and it was a shame that we lost it by the 2-0 margin. The next game for the women's team is the semi-finals of the Women's FA Cup. That's coming up very soon. If anyone wants to, it's on Saturday. That's coming up. West Ham versus. Yeah, I got the wrong one. I got the league instead of the FA. See, awful. You go live and everything goes wrong. Right. So the Women's FA Cup is at the Chigwell Construction Stadium, and if you're interested, go to the West Ham website. God, I'm really screwing up tonight, aren't I? Go to the West Ham website and look for the tickets to buy the tickets. Yeah, they're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Not the game that I added on there. My sincere apologies, but do support them. If you want to go and see West Ham in a semi-final of the FA Cup, now's your opportunity to do that. Right, who else do we have? Well, the under 23s were in action against Spurs, and they beat them very convincingly. The team. We're getting quite used to this lineup at the moment. Heggie in goal. Ashby Longello is his second game back from injury. Ekwa and Lang and Alese. Neves, Forsan. You know, some of these names are beginning to be household names. I had a conversation with some of the Claret and Booze guys earlier on about how good the under 23s are doing, and one of them was quite dismissive. It's like, oh no, I don't care if they win the league, etc., etc. I'll be honest with you, I do. There's a lot of young players here. Some of them in their early 20s, fair enough, and you'd think they should have maybe have broken through into the first team by now. But some of these other youngsters is sort of 18, 19 years of age. They kind of like they've gotten into the under 23 teams quite early in their careers, and I think there's a lot of good talent there. Ashby is being looked at as a potential future right back for the first team. Oko Flex, who I've raved about quite a lot. There's quite a few players that I think, I know not every under 23 player is going to break through, but if you get one or two players through each season, sort of like breaking into the first team, like Dan Chester's, he's had a couple of appearances. Perkins has made an appearance or two for the senior team. I think that really bodes well. Anyway, the under 23s, they played on Monday night against Spurs, and the victory combined with results elsewhere means they're 6 points behind Man City, who are in top spot. But they've got 2 games in hand as well. So if we win those 2 games in hand, we could be challenging for Premier League 2 Division 1 championship. And I think that is absolutely fantastic for these young lads. And I repeat, this is their second season in a row in the Premier League. Last season, they only just got away with being relegated. So what a turnaround. A bit like the senior team. What a fantastic turnaround to go from being almost getting relegated last season to almost winning the league this season. I think that's fantastic. So well done to them by winning 3-1. The under 18s were also in action at the weekend. They played Leicester away. Leicester are quite a good team. The under 18s team. They sit about 4th or 5th in the under 18s league. And the West Ham under 18s got a deserved 1-0 win away from home. It was George Earthy's 10th league goal of all competitions for the under 18s, and it was a highly competitive game. This win keeps the young West Ham team undefeated in the league since the start of October. That's fantastic as well. A run that includes 17 matches, and that was the team's 10th clean sheet in all competitions in this campaign. They're now top of the under-18s Premier League, having overtaken Southampton. Now, we have played 2 more games than them, but we're on 49 points and Southampton are on 44. So if Southampton win their 2 games in hand, they can go back on top. But for the under-18s, the speculation was that they were aiming for 5th, 6th in the league, but to be top of that league, again, it's fantastic. And that bodes well. That goes right through the team, doesn't it? Look at the senior team. Okay, the women's team have got a little bit of catching up to do. They're still about 6th or 7th in their league. But look at the senior team. We're in the top 6 at the moment. Look at the under 23s, at the top of the league. The under 18s at the top of the league as well. I think that's fantastic that, that what Moyes seems to have done, because he's ingrained more, he's a lot closer to what the under 23s are doing, development there, the under 18s, etc. The run that the senior team have gone on, it seems to have sort of seeped through to the under 18s and the under 23s, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. Their next game is at home to Spurs at the weekend as well. So good luck to them, and I hope they smash Spurs too. Right, let's go into the chat before I go into the next part of the show. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. How far up should we go? How far up should we go where I don't get slated off for putting up some really bad images? Good afternoon to you, Patrick. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. Howard, evening, Amaret. Hope you're well. Didn't realise it. So, did you meet her in person? Who else we got? Daniela. Amaret, lovely meeting you on Sunday. It's me pinching Ross Bottom. What else have we got here? Kent, good evening to you, mate. Buzzing for Sunday. Brentford is going to be a good day out. Yeah, I've thankfully managed to get a ticket for that. So who knows, Kent? We keep talking about, you're at every game that I go to. I still haven't met you. You are incognito. James, it was nice to see that you came out of the accident relatively unscathed. Hope Man U is okay. Is that why he crashed the car? Gaza, if we put in a good performance against Lyon, I would take a draw against Brentford. If we put in a good performance against Lyon, I expect to beat Brentford. We owe them one. We owe them one. Absolutely. What else have we got here? Good evening to you, Danny Martinez. There's a few that I believe are ready. Cheers from Missouri. Thank you for joining, mate. Really much appreciated. And if it's your first time, Danny, I don't normally screw up so much, but I really have done tonight, but there you go. What else have we got here? Gaza, it's great to be a massive hammer. It sure is, absolutely. James, there's an investigation going on as to who assaulted who was attacking Rustin. What else have we got here? Patrick, I've heard there's an I've done that one. I've heard you've got your own channel because Anton bored you. Well, Gaza, this is my own channel. It's the West Ham voice. I'm no longer in the network, I'm afraid. But wish them well. But yeah, I won't be on that channel anymore. Right. Let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? Right, it's all about player news. So let's start off. Thank you for the person that gave me the update on Connor Coventry, who scored, because he is having a great second half of the season. Connor Coventry, he's in sparkling form at the moment, and it's great to see some of our loan players getting a lot of game time and actually being really effective in that game time as well. As we know, he's on loan to MK Dons, and at the weekend he continued on with a 10th win in 14 League One matches since his loan move to the club. He's also the Republic of Ireland under 21 skipper and was in high spirits with their win against Sweden in the UEFA Euro 21 qualification at the weekend, in which Mibo Odebeko also starred in. Coventry was instrumental in helping MK Dons at the weekend to beat Shrewsbury 2-0. His incisive distribution from a deep lying position played a key part in unpicking the opposition's defence. And one particularly clever diagonal pass leading to Daniel Harvey curling an effort just past the post. But moments later, Coventry collected the ball from goalie Jamie Cumming, turned and broke lines with a direct pass to Scott Twine, who turned, passed the ball to Mo Isa, and slotted the goal for the slotted in for the opening goal. We were 2-0 up in the second half when Coventry himself went close, but almost adding a third. So look, I think it's fantastic. We keep talking about having our young players going out on loan, getting some game time, etc., and being able and hopefully breaking into the first team. Look, I know Coventry is in League Division 1. I know that. Fair play. The fact is, though, he's doing the business for them. He went out on loan in the first half of the season to Peterborough, hardly got any game time. He came back to West Ham. They looked to put him out on loan straight away, and he's getting game time. He's captain for the Republic of Ireland under 21s. He's apparently the best player for passes or something like that in League Division 1 at the moment. And he's doing really, really well. And I think, he's the sort of player that we've got a number of players that are going to leave West Ham at the end of the season. Mark Noble's retiring. We know we're not going to keep Alex Kral, etc. We know we're going to need cover in central defensive midfield. Why not? Why not bring this player back in and give him an opportunity? He may not get a lot of starts ahead of Souček or Declan, but if you've got a player like that on the bench, that can come on for the last 10 minutes or whatever, from fresh legs in order to sort of keep it tight in defence, doing those incisive passes, then why not someone like Coventry? And as I said, someone told me in the chat earlier on, apparently he scored his first goal for the MK Dons tonight. So well done to him. And I think it's fantastic news that he's doing so well. Someone who's probably not doing as well is Nathan Holland. He came on at the weekend in the cameo role against Plymouth Argyle in their 1-0 defeat to them. I know he's also playing tonight as well. So if anyone's got an update on him, please let me know as well. Oxford are kind of fallen away. They're not. By the way, MK Dons are sort of almost close to either making it through for the playoffs in League Division 1, or they could end up being automatically promoted as well if they keep going the way they are. Whereas Oxford United are kind of fallen away from the playoffs at the moment, and there are fine margins. But Holland does his bits, but he's not getting as regular game time as Connor Coventry is. And next up, I've just mentioned it, Mipo Odebeko. He kind of fell away a little bit at Doncaster. He's also playing tonight. So if anyone's got an update on him as well, by all means, let me know. He kind of fell away a bit at Doncaster after making an impressive start in his loan spell there. He went away with the Republic of Ireland under 21s. He made his debut for them and had a very, very good 70 minutes for them. He came back quite refreshed. He came on as a second half substitute for Doncaster at the weekend against Wycombe Wanderers, but he couldn't help them overcome a 2-0 defeat. But he's getting a bit more game time, and hopefully he can get his head straight. And maybe another loan spell for, he's only 19 years of age. Maybe another loan spell for Odebeko, who's got a lot of talent, but he's yet to score for Doncaster in League Division 1. Other players out on loan is Nathan Trott. He's out on loan at Nancy, second division Nancy. They're not doing too well. They're smack bang at the bottom of the Division 2 of the French league. They lost again at the weekend, and there doesn't seem to be any way back for them. It looks like they're going to be relegated. And another keeper, Joseph Anang, he was back in action for St. Patrick's Athletic, Irish team, and they drew 1-1 at the weekend as well. So it's great to see players out on loan that are getting game time. But I think, as I mentioned, of those players so far that I think that might have any chance of doing anything at West Ham, it's probably Connor Coventry. I've been, I said 2 seasons ago that I thought he was going to break through. It didn't happen. And then last season, I thought it might happen. It didn't happen again. But now that he's out on loan and now that he's getting some game time, who knows? Let's see what happens this summer when Moyes starts deciding who he wants to keep, who he wants to move on, who he wants to buy, and so on. And maybe Connor Coventry might be one of those players that might just make it. Right. Next up, before I go on to the final part of the show, is this man. John Terry. Well, everyone's had their say about Declan Rice, haven't they? And of course, sooner or later, someone like John Terry was going to have his say too. Um, Look, every day of the week we get transfer news about John Terry, and then we get John Terry. Every day of the week we get transfer news about Declan Rice, and then of course we've got people that stir the pot. And John Terry is the latest in a long line of people that have been stirring the pot. Look, do we really give a damn about what he says? You know, no, quite frankly, I certainly don't. But he's certainly tapping up Declan Rice in the background that we don't know about. What was the statement he made? Oh, I'll get in trouble if I say anything. I'm sure he said an awful lot. We know that Declan Rice talks to John Terry, a bit like Lingard still talks an awful lot to David Moyes. The players have relationships, friendships with other players, ex-players, managers, etc., away from the teams that they play for. So we know that they're in contact. There is absolutely no doubt that John Terry has sort of tried to tap him up and say you should go to you should go to Chelsea. I just hope that Declan Rice is his own man and takes no notice of someone like John Terry, who likes to shit stir an awful lot. Better that for him to keep his mouth shut. To be quite honest with you, right. What else have we got? Manuel Lanzini. Well, we know he had a bad car accident at the weekend. And apparently the reason why he didn't play at the weekend was because he's still quite shaken up because of that. It was quite a bad accident. The car overturned on the A12, etc. But thankfully, neither him or his chauffeur were injured. But unfortunately, it kind of had a bit of enough of an impact for Lanzini not to be able to to play at against Everton. And we've also heard that a whole thing about Lanzini being fined for driving without a license and all that. But let's not go into all that crap. Next up is Ben Johnson. Well, we were wondering why Johnson didn't make the game at the weekend, and we've since found out that he suffered a slight hamstring injury while he was on duty for England last week. When questioned about him, Moyes said he felt his hamstring playing for England on Wednesday. He came back and trained on Friday and Saturday, but he felt it again on Saturday. We didn't think it was bad, but it was a decision today to not to rest him. We didn't want him out for more weeks, which shows the stature of the player, how important he's become to West Ham United. He is, he's averaging 1.8 tackles a game, 1.3 interceptions a game, 2.5 clearances a game in the league this season, placing him in the top 5 for each statistic in Moyes' squad. That ain't bad, is it, for a player that's broken through this season? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit later on when I talk about the Lyon game, whether Ben Johnson is going to make it or not. Hopefully he will, but I'll update you on that a little later on. And finally, Bonner, he's back in the gym. He tweeted, "Guess who's back?" And he really is back. I mean, I think when will he actually be? He's got to still be trained to be match fit and all that sort of stuff. He could be ready for the semi-finals of the Europa League when we get through. Why not? Why not indeed? And it's fantastic. We worried so much about, the players that we've lost through injury throughout the season. And if we got Ogbonna back before the end of this season, it'd be absolutely fantastic. I'm laughing because I still can't believe it, given the injury he had. Right, before I move on to the last part of the show, let's go into the chat because there's an awful lot of comments. So let's scroll up. How far up shall I go? Let's see. I'll go as far up as there we go. I'll do that one. Will Fab start on Thursday? No. I think Jovi, Moyes will keep. I'm going to talk about the team in a minute, but no, I don't think he will. Thank you for that, Dabs. I'm glad that you're the one that told me he scored. Let's scroll down. Patrick, yep. Hello to you, mate. Thank you for joining. Who else we got here? Everyone's saying hello to everyone, ignoring everything I'm saying. Mind you, half the things I've said have been wrong. So I don't blame you for chatting to each other. Good evening to you, Reese. I hope you're well. Can I get a happy birthday for my daughter? What's her name? Happy birthday to her. Many happy returns, and I hope you sport her rotten, mate. You better have done. So massive happy birthday. Mandy, good evening to you. Hi, Sel here. Lyon picked up a player recently, taking advantage of the Russian-Ukraine rule and pinched Tete, how do you pronounce it? How can he then be allowed to play on Thursday? I know, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well when I go to the last part of the show. Given that the Premier League have said that we can't sign anyone, as in anyone in the Premier League, how is that fair? We've shot ourselves in the foot. I talked about that in last week's show as well. That UEFA opened up this transfer window. Everyone had an opportunity until in 2 days' time it closes on Wednesday, and Lyon have gone and taken advantage of it. And yet the Premier League have said that we can't take advantage of it as well. It's silly. Kent. Stel Adebayo is flying for Luton. Still, we must sign him. 15 goals in the Antonio mould. You've talked about him, haven't you, mate? And I did ask you a favour, and thank you. I know you said you'll try. Kent knows his stuff. Look, and whenever I sort of look for potential players that we should target, Kent always knows. Go and he's mentioned Adebayo a few times. So I'm going to look into him. I'm going to keep that promise now, and I'm going to look into him. In fact, actually, people, I'm going to do a bit of a transfer special later in the week. Because there's so many transfer rumors flying around. I did a show on it last week because I just couldn't keep up with all the different transfer rumors. So I'm going to do a transfer show, a rumors show later on this week. So look out for that. But Ken, because you keep mentioning him and I respect you for that, I'm going to do a bit of research on Adebayo as well. Dabs, did you see Vlasic celebrating when Bowen scored? Absolutely. It's a team effort. Even if you're not on the pitch, it's exactly what we want. And that's fantastic. Mandy, make or break for commentary pre-season? I think so. The last two pre-seasons that I've seen him in, he impressed me, and that's why I said I think this boy will break through. And I was surprised that he didn't break through the season before last. I was even more surprised that he didn't break through this season. But I actually agree with you. I actually agree. Um, who else have we got? Astro, greetings, Stelios, and everyone. Greetings to you as well, mate, Astrophos. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Mandy, quarterfinals, and you can add a new player. It is absolutely crazy. But the Premier League have shot us in the foot because they've told us we can't sign anyone, which is really, really odd. Really odd. Mike D, good evening to you. I'm a bit late. Don't worry, mate. I was late and also screwed up and spent the first 5 minutes talking to myself because I was on mute. There you go. So you really didn't miss anything, but still a long way to go to take your title for lateness. There you go. Reese, to be honest, I've literally just remembered still moved up. Oh, cheeky git. Cheeky git. Hammerette won't be able to talk at the pub on Friday. These Thursday games are a menace for my voice. Yeah, she lost her voice completely on Sunday. Couldn't talk. Mind you, apparently people said it's a blessing in disguise. Oh. Reese, John Terry, football legend, but absolute clown. I've got worse words to describe him as. Jay Woods, good evening to you. Purchase tickets for Arsenal at home. Can't wait for hopefully get the win. Hey Arteta, we owe them one as well. Brentford, we've got to win that. We've also got to beat Arsenal. We really have. Still, when you Gaza, still when you're going to get that dry paint off your beard, mate, I'm going very, very, very grey at the moment. But about time. Terry is a pillar. Yeah, I could think of worse words to describe him. Who else have we got here? Mike. Hammer, I must admit, I love still like a few Hammer website, but still, thank you, Mike. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. Jovi, does Oggy walk back into the side when he's fit, or has Big Doors made the position his own? That's a really, really interesting question. I think probably Ogbonna will get a few games, when he's match fit. Will he get any games? I don't know, but when he finally gets back to being that he's able to be selected, I think he'll be brought on for a few games, last 10 minutes or whatever, to get him match fit. And I think maybe Moyes, because Ogbonna's left-footed, maybe Moyes might prefer to put Zuma back on the right side of central defence. And yeah, maybe Oggy might walk back into the team-ish. Good evening, GP. Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. P. Gads, Oggy to raise the Europa League trophy. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if he did that. Mike, so pleased Doc Bonner is back. I like Dawson, but Bonner and Zuma could be a force together. It's what that's what's in my head, mate, as well. James, Moyes is a hard taskmaster. Lanzini was dropped because he was late for training. Was he late for training? Is that why I was led to believe that that he didn't make the team because he wasn't even on the bench, so I was led to believe that he was dropped because, oh, you winding me up because he was late because he had a car crash, James. I'm falling for this, aren't I? Hammerette, has everyone? Please do subscribe to the channel. I'm shit at doing this, so thank you, Hammerette, for reminding me. Please hit the like button. Please do subscribe. It'd be really appreciated if you do, even though I do mess up. Mandy, you can't add a player for the quarterfinals. Well, it seems that they have, and I'll come on to that in a minute. Mike D, come on, peeps. 62 in the house, but only 36 likes. Still, so thank you very much. Gaza, Stel, you're going on The Voice next. Forget it, mate. You'll only me. Reese transfer specials. I know there's so many stories. I don't know. No, he's not out of contract. I think he's still got 1 year to go. I think his contract expires in 2023. Astrofos. Thanks, sir. I hope you had a great time. I had a wonderful time in Barcelona. We went to Barcelona and Valencia, and it was wonderful. The food, the seafood, people, the seafood. Honestly, Gaza. Or Ashby needs to break through, or Moyes will have to bring in another left back. Ashby, I think, is one of the players that they're looking at. He's back from injury now as well, and I think he's one of the right backs that we're sort of thinking of that could maybe break through. Imagine Johnson and Ashby in competition for the right back position. We still need a left back though. We still do need a left back. Black Country, there's one good thing when a woman loses the. I'm not getting involved in that one. Good evening to you, Louis. Thank you for joining, mate. Come on, you Irons. Bone is good after being back. He'll get even better, won't he? Mr. Sawyer, how are you? Hi, Stel. Just joined the chat. Great to see you. Personally, I think Coufal will start on Thursday, and otherwise, same team as Sunday. Think we will win 2-0 and set up the return leg in France. Possibly. Andrew, subscribe to my channel, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Lee. Evening to you as well. Thank you, mate. Thank you for joining. Why would Hammerette? Why on God's earth would Rice Baby go to Man? Who said he's going to go to Man? He ain't going to Man United. Why does he want to go down in the world? Kent, Oggy goes in very quickly, adds balance for me still. Please look at Brennan Johnson. I did, mate. If you look at my show that I did last week, I've mentioned Johnson quite a few times, but I recorded a transfer window, transfer rumors special, and Johnson was in there. So please look at the show that I did, the last show I think it was, and Johnson's in there, mate. Victor, we can sign players from Russia and Ukraine, but the Premier League has said they can only be used to play in Europe, not the Premier League. Now, Victor, I didn't know that. I was. Thank you for that, because I thought that the Premier League just said we just can't sign any players from Russia, but they haven't said anything about Ukraine. So if that is correct, thank you for that update, mate. Sean, good evening to you. Come on, 8 off 5. Is that all what it is? Wow, thank you. That would be a big step for me to get 500 subscribers. Thank you so much. Let's scroll down. No place has better seafood from Greece. I would beg to differ, Astrophos. As much as I love, Greece and Cyprus and all that, Spain and even Portugal, very cheap seafood. Reese, I hated Barcelona. The smaller towns are around much better. I don't hate Barcelona. I love it. Let's scroll. This isn't a travel channel, is it? Jonathan, good evening to you. Thank you for joining as well. In Austria at the moment. What did I miss? Jonathan, you missed me screwing up half the show, so you joined at the right time. But I'll do a little rundown at the end of the show for you all anyway. Sharky, know what you mean, but he could still earn more dosh at Man. He could, but what? Playing what? Trying to play for the Europa Conference qualification. Leave off. What else we got? Mark, Jonathan, nothing. Still on mute. There you go. We had to guess. Hammerette Sharky, if he wants to be that sort of club, then he isn't as ambitious as we all thought. There you go. He ain't going to Man United. Right, let's go into the last part of the show. I can't believe it. 54 minutes and I'm in the last part of the show already. So let's do that. So, who's looking forward to Lyon on Thursday? Not only am I looking forward to the game on Thursday and then Brentford on Sunday, but also being at Lyon next week as well. I've got one of the last few tickets, and I was shitting myself because I was sitting over in Spain trying to book a ticket when it got to my turn. Wouldn't do it. So I got in touch with my good friend Mark Churchy, and he did it for me. He signed me a ticket. So not only am I going on Thursday, I'm going over to France the following week as well. I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely fucking brassic. The number of places I've gone to over the past couple of months, as well as taking the other half on holiday as well. I'm broke, but I don't care. I'm going to Lyon and I'm looking forward to it and I can't wait. But let's crack on with just the game this Thursday. A rapid sellout again for the home tie. At the end of last week, the French club returned a whole load of tickets back to West Ham, which allowed us to reissue them to the home fans. Now, clearly, we're not all going to sit in the away end, obviously, but if you remember, West Ham has actually got a seating capacity of 66,000 seats, but we're only allowed, I believe, a seating capacity at the moment of 60,000. 60 or 62,000, something like that. So there are 4,000 seats that are usually covered up, usually at the very top end of the stadium, but they're usually covered up. But the fact that Lyon sent tickets back to West Ham means that West Ham can open up some of these covered up seats. And of course, they went on sale. They went on sale last week. And also, I think it was 2 days ago. What are we today? We're Tuesday. So on Monday, a few more seats were released. But I think by the time this show goes out, they've all gone. They've all gone. So we've got another sellout crowd for the home game against Lyon. And it is going to be, if for any of you that went or were lucky enough to have gone to the Seville game, the home game a couple of weeks ago, you know what the atmosphere was like there. And given the fact that it's the first leg is such a big deal, we need to go over to France next week with a really solid foundation. The crowd are going to be so up for it. I mean, I'm buzzing. Someone asked me earlier, are you beginning to get, jitters? I am now that I'm starting to talk about it. Yes, I am. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic game. Lyon, they're not doing so well in their league, but they're no mugs. They're absolutely no mugs. So let's talk about. Let's go to the front of those slides. I talked in the show I did last week, in the recorded show I did last week. I talked about a number of their players being out because of long-term injuries. Central defender Sinali Diamande, midfielder Ryan Cherky, and right back Leo Dubois. Now, added to that list is Maxence Cacare. Cacare. I don't know how to describe that. Pronounce that. Let's say it's Cacare, an influential midfielder who is also out of the game on Thursday. He's rated by many Lyon fans as being their most important player. He suffered a suspected knee injury in training last week and is widely expected to miss both legs. But it certainly sounds like he's going to be out of the game this Thursday. Another player Toko Nkambi, he returned from international duty last week after scoring a goal that guaranteed Cameroon's qualification for the 2022 World Cup finals. But he missed the game against Angers that they played at the weekend through illness, thought to be COVID. So it's possible that he'll be doubtful for this trip also against West Ham this Thursday as well. But as I mentioned, they got strength in depth. They've got the three players that I mentioned at the start. They've got players that can easily replace them. Jerome Boateng, Lucas Paqueta, who's now got 9 goals and 6 assists so far this season, as well as Malo Gusto at right back. Lyon played their game at the weekend against Angers, 14th in the league, and they beat them by 3 goals to 2. So they can be got at. Angers is not exactly the strongest team in the French league, but guess who got their winner? Yeah, their new signing from from the Russian league, Tete. Oh no, from the Ukrainian league, Tete. He scored the winning goal. He came on as a second half sub, and he scored their winning goal. you know, Now here's the odd thing. Thank you for telling me, Victor. What the situation is. Apparently, from what Victor has said, if you sign a player from the Ukrainian or the French league, the Ukrainian or the Russian league, they can play only in the European competitions, but they can't play in the Premier League. Clearly, that doesn't apply to the French league because Tete played in the French league for them at the weekend, and it looks like he's able to play in the quarterfinals of the Europa League on Thursday. How is that right? I agree, Mandy. You said it yourself earlier on. That can't be right. It's there's something odd about that, and it doesn't seem right. And there's a lot of confusion. I think I'd rather the Premier League didn't come out with that statement to say that you can't sign these players or you can't sign these players for the Premier League. I think that's wrong because maybe people have been. I interpreted that as you can't sign these players from Ukrainian or Russian league and they can't play full stop. That's how I interpreted it. So all this rumours about us signing Dejan Lovren from Zenit St. Petersburg, apparently we tabled a bid. Seems clearly that we didn't table a bid at all. So what of our lineup? We talked a little bit about them, but what about their players? What about our players? Who are we going to pick? I think it's pretty obvious that most of this team speaks for itself. Lanzini is out because of suspension, so we know he's not available. In goal, Areola. He's been the cup keeper throughout the whole of this season, and I think he'll keep his place. Who will start at right back? If Fredericks, if Johnson is out injured, will it be Coufal or will it be Fredericks? I think the centre of defence speaks for itself as well. Zuma and Dawson, and at left back, of course, is Cresswell. And then in the middle of the park, Declan and Souček will control the middle of the park. And then because Lanzini is out, I think you're going to see the same lineup as we had at the weekend. You're going to see Ben Rama, Fornals, and Bowen supporting Antonio up front. There are other players, of course. There's Yarmolenko, there's Vlasic. There are one or two other players that perhaps Moyes could use. But my feeling is he's going to go with that lineup. But who's it going to be at right back? David Moyes has got a decision to make. Now, I think I know who he will pick, but I had a look at the right backs that we've got just to try and compare them. Now, Coufal is only just back from injury, so we don't know just how match fit he is. Fredericks, we know he's got a bit of he can be a bit calamitous at times, but look at the what he did in the game against Everton at the weekend when he saved us from conceding a goal. So let's think about the player stats. Coufal start off. This is just for the Premier League. Coufal has played 22 games, of which 3 were a sub. He's got 3 assists, no goals. Pass success rate of 69%. Averaging per game 1.7 tackles, under 1 interception, 2 clearances, 2 blocks. Solid. A total score, average score of 6.62. Ben Johnson, 16 appearances, of which 2 were as a sub. Pass success rate of 70% with all his averages, tackles, interceptions, etc. He's got an average rating so far this season of 6.72%. So he's got a better average rating than Coufal has. And then Fredericks. We know he's been out injured for quite a lot of the season, but he's made 6 appearances so far, of which 4 has been a substitute. He's got the better pass success rate, 71%. But overall, with his tackling, etc., he's only got a 6.16 average rating. So his average rating overall is less than the others in defence. In the Europa League, both Johnson and Fredericks have made 4 appearances each. However, 4 of those appearances have been that Fredericks has made. 3 have been as a substitute. Johnson still comes out on top over all 3 players, 7.1% compared to 6.9% for Coufal and 6.33% for Fredericks. But again, pass success rate, 80.4% goes to Fredericks. Look, I think that what will happen is I think Moyes will probably go for the safer bet and he will probably go for Coufal. Despite his lack of match fitness, I think that's who he's going to pick overall. And this is going to be my lineup for Thursday. Areola in goal, Coufal, Dawson, Zuma, and Creswell at the back, Souček and Declan in the middle, and attacking Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen, and Antonio. That's who I think he's going to go with. Right, but what about Declan Rice himself? Now, I mentioned earlier on, now Declan Rice has got 2 yellow cards. Now, I'm really surprised that the yellow cards have carried over all the way through to the quarterfinals. Normally, you would expect maybe, if you pick up yellow cards in the group stages, they'll be wiped off. And then maybe if you pick up 3 yellow cards in the quarterfinal, in the last 16, quarterfinals and semi-finals, then you might miss the final, etc. But this is carried over from the group stages as well as the last 16. His first yellow card was in the 2-2 draw away draw against Genk in the group stages, and then of course the last 16 away to Seville there. So he's carrying 2 yellow cards. If he picks up a yellow card in the next game, he misses the second leg against Lyon next week. Does he get picked? Does Moyes risk it? Does Moyes risk whether he picks Declan Rice because of that disciplinary tightrope, or does he say let's go for it and then we'll worry about the second leg when it comes? My gut says he will pick him. I've already said. I think this will be the team for Thursday. My gut says he will pick him and he'll worry about whether Declan gets a yellow card or not after. If Declan picks up a yellow card, he picks up a yellow card. He misses that second leg. However, what will happen is possibly Lanzini will be back. He'll be back from his suspension. And I think that's who will replace Declan. Or quite possibly Mark Noble. But I think of the two, I think you'll see Lanzini. Lanzini's been industrious in the centre of the park, and he's capable of doing it. And I think European football kind of benefits him as well. He kind of, he's like a lot of players. He might be better there alongside Souček. It'll be a gamble. Moyes will have a big decision to make only if Declan does pick up a second yellow card. But my gut feeling says that if Declan does, then Lanzini will replace him for the second leg. That's it. I've done just over an hour. So I'll finish off with your comments. And by the way, please do subscribe. Please do hit the like button, all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to finish off with your comments, and I will come back later in the week. I don't know when. You're going to have to forgive me because I'm really busy at work. It's year end, got all those boring stats to do and, spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff. But I will promise you that I will do a show purely about transfers. But let me just run through what I've already discussed so far tonight before I go into your comments. So I talked about the Champions League and what a farce it is. It's the Super League around the back door. Does that mean that UEFA and FIFA start tampering with the way we qualify for things like the Euros and the World Cup in the future? it's great to see the minnows being part of these competitions. Like I remember as a child watching Zaire in the World Cup. We talked about the game. We talked about Fredericks. We talked about a stunning free kick. We talked about Bowen being back. I messed up. No, I didn't mess up on this one about the game being moved only for the time. Man City against West Ham is now at 4:30. And then we talked about the women's team. They lost 2-0. And then that's where I messed up. They're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So do go to the West Ham website and buy your ticket for that one. We talked about the under-23s and their superb win against Spurs, and also the great away win by the under-18s against Leicester as well. And both teams are top of their league, people. Come on. And then we went on to some of the players. I talked about how great Connor Coventry is doing at the moment. Not so great for Nathan Holland, for Odebeko. John Terry ought to keep his mouth shut about Declan. Lanzini, the reason why my understanding is that he didn't play was because he was still shaken up because of the car crash. Ben Johnson, as we know, he's injured. Felt his hamstring. It's 50-50 whether he plays on Thursday. I've got a feeling he may not. I've got a feeling he may not. And Oggy, he's back in action, isn't he? And then we finished off talking about Lyon, how they've got a number of players out injured. Kakare, one of their influential midfielders. Akambe, if he has got COVID, he'll miss the game on Thursday. If he hasn't, he might just make it. But they've got capable players, and of course they've signed Tete, who scored their winning goal against Angers at the weekend. So let's go into your chat. And before I bid you all a good night, let's scroll up. How far up shall I go? Let's go to. Here we go. Why not? Roland, good evening, Roland. West Ham are massive. We absolutely are. Good evening, Roland. I can't see your comments, but thank you for joining as well. Jovi, so excited for Thursday, but loving the countdown to these Europa games. Absolutely, mate. Really, really looking forward. Lee, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. And I hope you've subscribed. Jonathan, how did your basket scoping? It went very well. Found a couple of nice places to drink, a couple of nice places to stay, and some fantastic places to eat seafood. But I know a lot of you fans aren't going to go out there for the seafood. Gaza, still, what score you want to see going into the second leg? I would love a 2-0 as well. I think a 2-0 will be just right for us, to be honest. I would love to keep a clean sheet. It puts all the more pressure on them. I know the away goals and all that don't count anymore, but I would love to keep a clean sheet against them on Thursday and go in with a 2-0 lead. I totally agree. Mark, Gaza, thinking we need a 2-goal lead. Absolutely. Hammerette, first leg 3-1, second leg 1-1. Yeah, but I'd rather it be 2-0. Mandy agrees as well. Would be great for a 2-0. Howard wants a 4-0. I would love a 4-0 as well. I really would. Reese, cooking up some lovely red Leicester cheesy bagels. What everyone else had for tea. This ain't a show about food. Just look after your 4-year-old daughter. I hope you spoilt her rotten today. Mandy, I just want to see Rice lead them out away in the new. Oh, I'll tell you what. I mean, yes. I mean, what a dream. I actually joked at the weekend that it would be the first half and half scarf I will ever buy. Barcelona on one side and West Ham. Sod that, I'd buy it. Sean, Kakare is correct. Kakare. There you go. Not Kukare or Kukare. Kakare. Thank you, Sean. I'm such a heathen for not being able to pronounce these names. Howard, Nagadal and Rice, Declan. Nagadal and Rice Declan. Oh, you're replying to Reese. Robert, good evening to you. Whatever the score at home, I believe we can go there and get the result we need. Absolutely. I think they're not doing too well. They won their game against Angers, who were 14th in the league, but they only scraped it through, and it's taken them to 9th place in the league. So they're not having a great domestic season. Gaza, Lyon defence in their league is poor, but good in Europa League. Yeah. But I reckon we got enough to actually put a few past them. Mandy, we get past Lyon, Pat, and it's on. Absolutely, it's on. We get to the next round. We get to the semi-finals. We're dreaming of the final, aren't we? And I know we shouldn't do, but we will be. I certainly will be. Lee, just not long had pizza and chips. My 6-year-old, she's sleeping now. Victor, Nunes, who we have been linked with, has scored for Benfica against Liverpool. We have been linked with him. Apparently, the bid was real in the transfer window. Who knows? Who knows? Mandy, there he is. Tete the Bandito. Good evening, Pat Marn. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. I'm really well. I hope you are. You missed the worst part of the show. I screwed everything up. The Ukrainian-Russian rule is based on Moyes' youth policy. I didn't get that. I laughed, but I kind of didn't understand it. Mandy, Antonio's overdue to bag a couple. Isn't he just? Isn't he just? And wouldn't it be the right time for him to start finding his scoring shoes again? Coufal has been out for too long. Freddie or Johnson for me. This is what I'm worried about. Because Coufal's been, but I do think he'll go for safety first, to be honest with you. And Coufal might be the safer of the two. Johnson, if he's fit, I think it will be Johnson. But if he's not fit, I think it will be Coufal. Sharky, Fredericks at right back. That's where he normally plays. Pat, I like the look of Coufal and Fredericks at right back. Will we get away with that? Coufal and Fredericks at right back. Will we get away with that? Oh, you mean playing both of them? Clearly not. Gaza, Benny looked good first half against Everton, but needs to be a 90-minute man. I agree with that, but you know he's had some touches of brilliance. He sure has. Robert, happy you quitted my during. You're free to go. I didn't understand that, but I'm sure Hammerette did. Javi, Connor Coventry's goal tonight is a contender for goal of the season. Picked the ball up in the midfield and runs all the way through before curling it into the net. I'm going to have a look at that. Sharky, Vlasic is on his way out, isn't he? I don't know, to be quite honest with you. I did say in last week's show that it could either be Vlasic or Benrahma. One of those two might go out on loan or might be sold. Adam, how are you, mate? Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Anil. Pat, he might kick a few Leons, but he would never kick a cat again. Where did that go? That comment came and went. Where did that disappear to? Well, oh, there it is. There it is. Let's scroll down. Peter. Still, Anton put out a conversation between Bilic and Moose regarding the board being very, very reluctant to purchase a new player. Interesting piece. That's rubbish. It's not about whether the board is reluctant or not. Unfortunately, I'm no disrespect to Anton. He's got an opinion. He's seen something and perhaps maybe not understood it. The board, as I've always said, not that I'm a board lover, has always spent money. The problem is the board has not spent money wisely. You know, they've always gone out and bought the wrong players and not really listened to what the team needs, etc. Now, I know Bilic said a few days ago that if you don't ask, you don't get with the board. I think Moyes has asked. I think the board has said yes. But now Moyes has got to put his money where his mouth is, and he goes out and buys players. No dithering. No, none of this last-minute bids for players when it's only 2 days to go in the transfer window. I want to see players coming through the door at the start of the transfer window this summertime. Anil, Rice plays this on Thursday. I agree. Pat, I like this show. Good luck with you. Thank you, Pat. Really appreciated, mate. Jonathan, is Lanzini available? Yeah, he is. Apparently, he was shaken up, though. Areola in goal? Definitely. I think absolutely Areola in goal. Alfie, good evening to you, mate. Are you ever going to talk about why you left West Ham Network? No, I'm not. But do subscribe to this channel. I hope you do. Who else we got here? Sorry, Alfie. Please subscribe, mate. Let's scroll down. Good evening, Epic. How are you? Lyon is a pub side, should be 10-0. Reese, going to beat them 9-0. I love your enthusiasm. Jonathan, I don't think they will enjoy our defensive play, but we have to stop wasting our chances to get through. Like Mandy said, I think, you know, it's time that Antonio started scoring a few goals. And what a time to start remembering where the net is. What else have we got? Mark, Tete is French for head. I don't know. Is it? Adam, don't bank on Barcelona beating Frankfurt. No, I don't bank on it. No, I don't. But I think we will. I think they will. Just. Hammerette, we missed you live still. Don't go on holiday again. I can't promise that, to be honest with you. Peacads, you think it's going to be 0-0? Gaza, still take time off and dye your beard blonde. Oh, no. I like that sort of, what is it? Salt and pepper look. I like all that crap. Howard, let's get me to five. Yes, please get me to 500 subs. I'd love it if that happened tonight. GP Stell would be like Pamela Baywatch Beach. Reese, by the way, Stell, you're always welcome to hop on West Ham Randall with me and Peach. I promise that I will. I've promised other channels I will, but I just don't know even have time to do my own shows, and that is the honest truth. Paul, City are 1-0 up. Alfie, got tickets for Arsenal in Bobby Moore Lower. How's it down there? Any rules? Alfie, come over and see me. I'm in 155. We all stand. No rules. You know, don't be silly. But no rule. We all stand. A lot of noise goes on there. And when you get there, come over to block 155. I'm just by the down at the front of the seats there. Dabs, it's been found out that we bid for Phillips and Rafinha a week before the end of the window, like a few others, but I don't want it to happen a week before. I want it to happen right at the start of the window. Already, Stub, you're going to membership. I won't do memberships. No, I'm not. I don't think I will. But thank you for subscribing. Gaza, could you imagine the last game of the season to finish top four and we're playing Brighton, please? Yeah. I don't think we'll make top four, to be quite honest with you. But so long as we make anything in the top seven, and that does include the European Conference, the Europa Conference League. I don't mind European football. I don't mind. Has it really gone to 500? Thank you, people. Honestly, I'm very humbled. Thank you so much. More salt than pepper. I know I'm old. I'll be 60 in May, mate. What do you expect? Reese, no, I get what you mean. I know you're a busy. Sorry, Matt. Honestly, I do mean to go on the other shows. When things settle down, I promise I will. Peter, if we get through to the final in Barcelona, and there's a really good seaside town just outside called Ciegues Hope. My iPad microphone has picked that up correctly. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for that little snippet. Right, that's it. Thank you all so much. I've got to 500. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I do look 60 now. Look, I'm waiting for this to go great. People think I diet. I don't diet. I've got a friend who's subscribed. He can't chat. I don't know why. We'll chat about it later and see what we can do with that. Thank you all very much. I've got 500. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening. Thank you all for the chat. Much appreciated, etc. You keep me on my toes, and that's fantastic. I do apologize for being on silent for the first 5 minutes of the show. I do apologize for that. I do apologize for some of the slides being wrong as well. But there you go. Have a great evening. Look out for the other show I'm going to do sometime this week. It'll just be on transfer rumours. Don't believe any of them, but it's a great show anyway. Much appreciated. Mark, thank you. Much appreciated, mate. See you all very soon. And come on, you Irons, and come on Thursday. It's going to be fantastic.